YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the geebee Ultra Micro V2, all new, or new again, from E-flite. Absolutely beautiful little thing, super ultra detailed, really popular from past experience. I never had one. Beautiful soft landing gear and steerable tail wheel as well as AS3X. We're gonna take off and fly it right now. There is no thrust reverse on this, but we did set up spoilerons because there's almost no downward play on those ailerons. Wind's coming at our face right now, so into the throttle. 303S. It's about 50% throttle. Got a little bit of a roll here. I'll have to fix that with my trimming. Camera crew. Oh, it's really good flying. It's just that I've got that trims wanting to roll me. There we go. Okay, so we're a lot better now. So guys, 50% throttle here. Seems a little bit pitchy, which means I could probably stand to put that battery back just a little bit. All three control axes give us really good control of the aircraft. So lots of authority. Actually, I could probably use a little extra expo, to be honest. Full throttle now. And as you can see, it's got tons of ups. I would call that near unlimited vertical. But then, as with the big 1 meter version that was just offered, it's supposed to be a little bit tricky to land. So I guess we'll find out how bad it actually is. Feeling a little bit of resistance on my rudder. I'd like to trim it, but it's just kind of, you got to stay on the sticks. And it could also be the wind. So guys, that's one thing I'm going to remind you. I'm going to actually kick my expo up to the top setting, which reduces my rates by 10% and brings me to 20% expo instead of the standard 10% with 100% rates in my middle setting. And I gotta say, that does smooth it up quite a bit. And you can still move the stick a little bit further to get the plane to perform the way you want. Upside down performance feels like it's gonna be somewhat insufficient as configured. And given that it's really cold, I just got my first hint of low voltage protection. Now, given that this is an ultra micro, I'll just back off the power and we'll see how much longer we can get this thing to go. It looks fantastic, definitely looks the part. Definitely think that the wind is a bigger factor on this plane than it was on the big plane. We flew it with snowbanks on both sides. Camera crew is gonna come out about 10 steps with me. And so today we are flying with, I would call it about 4 to 6, gusting to 8 or 9 miles per hour. And that's enough to really require a little bit more speed. Oh, there we are, we're pulsing. Okay, so let's see if we can get this thing down. And there it is, guys.
Oh, nice.
No problem at all. It was pretty easy. I've got a little bit of a crosswind. It's going at about this angle right now, so it's close to down the runway, but probably about 7 to 9 degrees off of the center line. Ground handling is really, really good. I do tend to think that our 300 milliamp hour, see, that's full yaw impact. I think I'm fighting the wind now. But those wing struts make it look fantastic. The soft tires make for a really good flight experience with landings. And of course, the scale performance is amazing. That was about 3.5 minutes right now. Given that it is so cold, and it is really cold today, I forgot to put gloves on, I'm crazy. And really, I could honestly use a second coat too, because it is that cold. It's probably single digits, maybe 4 or 5 degrees right now.
I think so.
So these batteries do not like the cold. So if you're flying this, I bet you'll get 4 or 5 minutes of flight time conservatively when it's warm. I'm getting about 3.5 minutes on a couple-year-old pack, okay? But yes, there is pack telemetry on this unit. To be honest, see, it's already recovered so much. Yeah. But it's gonna bog as soon as I give it throttle.
Yeah.
See? So throttle cuts on. That's one of the fatal flaws that you'll have on these small batteries is that you do need to keep up on fresh packs if you want to have the best experience on these ultra micros. This does have a JST equipped plug, so it's slightly better than the micro PH 2S plugs that we had in years past. So you do have a Hextronics balance lead, but when you charge them, if you try to charge them fast, the charger shuts off prematurely. So you gotta set them as low as you can tolerate. It takes forever to charge, and that's where we have found some level of success. Also, and frankly, a lower watt charger seems to tolerate charging the small packs better. So if you have a big 200 watt charger, it seems to just kick in the heat sinks and run the Facebook data center, as we call it, AKA all the cooling fans. So a couple of tips for you. The Unbox build radio setup will follow. It's super simple. We set up the Spoilerons. I didn't even need to use them today. I'm just gonna tell you, it's probably a waste of time. If you wanna set that up, just so you know, sticks down and out, and toggle whatever you used for your flight mode between Safe and AS3X. It's supposed to come on the A switch by default. We changed that for our setup to mimic closely what we do on every other transmitter profile in our NX8, which has been working really good. The NX8 Plus has been wonderful. If you guys have an old NX8, remember you still have 20 channels inside that thing, and you can tap into it with just a firmware update. So I'd highly recommend you do that. And if you guys need help doing any of these weird things that you hear about in the RC community, come to Brian Phillips RC first. We'll give you at least an entry-level look at what's going on, and we'll help get you out of the chair and into the air. So, good job, E-flite. Beautiful little plane. If you guys have any affinity for this plane and you want to buy one from the links in the video description below, you'll help support Brian Phillips RC, as well as head over to brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me if you don't know how to spell my name. And you can find competitive offerings in this size class, or you can find the bigger one. You also, with our link in the video description below, you'll see both. Make sure you pick the right one. I'm gonna definitely tell you that the 1 meter is a lot bigger plane. We will show it in the unbox next to this, so you can make your size comparisons. But also keep in mind, both of those flights were in terribly cold, uncomfortable conditions. In the right conditions, that thing is gonna be a ball. So I hope you guys will pick one up, get it from the links, you'll help support us. Other ways to support us: YouTube super thanks, YouTube members, and Patreon for monthly support, and PayPal, all of which are always accepted. But we appreciate you being here, smashing the like button if you got any value out of this video, and then also clicking the bell for notifications when you do subscribe. You'll help support the channel, and we appreciate you being here. Remember, guys, we're telling the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, so we can get you out of the chair and into the air. And how do we do that? We help people come back to the hobby, and we help people get into the hobby. Get your friends involved, get your kids involved, get your grandkids involved. Whatever it takes to get people involved is what we need right now, because otherwise, we keep saying this, the hobby dies with you, okay? Remember, we love this hobby, we want it to be around, and we're gonna do what it takes to help push it forward, okay? We're the real McCoys in this hobby industry. There's a lot of people that are just salesmen. We are here to show full, true life in this sport. Thanks for watching. Unbox next. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this. It's a UMX geebee R-2. Super cool. We're gonna fly it right now and see if we get a little better flight time. You guys will probably see 2 flights, but here we go. 3S 400 we did this time. They recommend a 300. That's 50% throttle, folks. Oh, gorgeous.
Looks good over there in the bowl.
Definitely feels more tame. Let's go over to the bowl. Right there. That's good. A little white speck.
So, it's cute.
Well, you need a lot of rudder to hold it into a knife edge, because you see how it wants to dive? Probably the bigger battery. But guys, near unlimited vertical. Beautiful.
Cool.
So guys, not too long ago, we just did another geebee that was a 1 meter geebee from E-flite. Okay, I went back to my lower expo settings. I had that in my 20 and lower rates. Very good. Man, the bottom looks really nice.
It does.
Now this has soft tires, unlike the big one. When I say the big one, it's a 1 meter plane, but it is a fairly big size plane. Kind of looks like a 1300 millimeter. This is giving us a lot more flight time this time. I almost feel like the 15 degrees warmer temperature makes a bigger impact than the battery, to be honest. Beautiful. It's kind of got one of those elevators where you give it a little bit of impact and it doesn't do much, and then all of a sudden it starts going nutty. So it's kind of weird because it's kind of got that feel of like a little bit on the tail heavy side, but we are definitely not tail heavy. If anything, we are nose heavy. I do not recall the big one doing that to us. So definitely a little bit more challenging. They call it an intermediate. Ours is a PSOT sample, so it's definitely going to have a little bit of use on it. Yours, of course, will be brand new. I'm surprised the roll is not like a little bit more clean for being such a short plane. There's our critically low voltage. That was out of the blue. So camera crew, you good where you are?
Yes.
Stay where you are, please. You just moved. Go back out where you were. Okay, so I'm gonna just go down to the end of the runway here. The wind is actually coming from the right to the left. We'll try to give you good visibility, but that wind is just a tiny little bit of wind makes a difference on such a small plane, guys. Beautiful. So I don't know if I'm getting better or I'm getting lucky, but I can definitely say there were people concerned about being able to land the bigger one, and I didn't have any big problems with it. And we had snowbanks going on.
Especially with the thrust reverse, we
were able to slow it down really nice. Turning radius is pretty wide on this thing. It's about 15, 16 feet wide right there. But man, oh man, it looks really nice.
It does.
So guys, here at the end of the day, definitely got a little bit more difficulty in the control arena than what we have on other UMXs. But at the end of the day, it is a pylon racer. It is one of those fast planes that does one thing really good, and that is a fast and straight line. And it's really cold right now. So that was quite a bit better flight time. We were adding about a minute to that. So if you figure on about 3 minutes for a 300 milliamp, and maybe like close to 4 minutes if you can squeeze a 400 in there. But that being said, they recommend a 300 for good reason, because I think what's gonna happen is you put a little bigger battery in there, it just is small. It doesn't have as much lift as you might imagine, because that is, after all, a hollow wing, and it's just got the airfoil shape. Now it's plenty strong for the flight performance, but it's just not a super lifty wing, and that's how you get this basically flying nacelle to do what it does. But I gotta say, really fun, very cool looking, beautiful landing gear, soft tires on all 3 points, and it definitely does what you'd expect a geebee to do, and that is look really cool and go fast. So hopefully we've answered all your questions with these 2 flights. We're gonna go straight into the Unbox build radio setup. I'm not sure what order you're gonna see these things, but I would definitely encourage you, if you like the geebee, check the links in the video description below. Remember, JST equipped battery. They call it a 300. We stuffed in a 400 just to see how it would perform. And that is another brand. I think it's a Volantix brand. It's not marked. But I wanted to see how this thing did. That being said, it is definitely a little bit harder to fly this than other UMXs that we've flown in the past. I don't think it's any fault of E-flite in this case. I think it's just part of the generic qualities in airframe when you get a geebee, that they're gonna be a little bit touchy, okay? That being said, if you wanna put that battery further forward, you can, but just be careful about the stator. It is right there. You can expose your wires to the side of the stator on the motor. So be careful, you don't want that thing spinning and creating a hole or something like that. So, and yes, this does have safe. And yes, safe does work, and I didn't even show it because, to be honest with you, it's such a short flight and it's really cold out here. So I'm gonna call that good for today. We did show how to set it up, and we did show how to set up Flaperons. In our case, we did Spoilerons, which is pretty cool. So as you can see, it still works. We'll show you the process in the Unbox build radio setup, which is a little bit more compact than usual. So hopefully we get the job done. Let us know in the comments below if we did. Let us know if you bought one and about your experience with the original geebee UMX, or if you've gotten the 1 meter and you've enjoyed it. Let us know what you think in the comments below. But guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Click the bell when you do so you get notified of all the new content that we're putting out here on Brian Phillips RC. Obviously, we got this aerodrome going on, which is really fun. We're at kind of like a between steps mode right now, and we'll keep you appraised of the changes as they happen. But if you want to help support us in our crazy efforts to do that, check the link, buy these things, enjoy them, and then the small commissions that come will be spent like 6 years ago by me. So it's gonna be awesome. We can't wait to share this whole experience with you. But if you haven't learned to fly, I would not recommend this. It is a little bit harder to fly than some of the other ultra micros that we've reviewed in the past. And I would suggest this would be more for an experienced pilot, in my opinion. They call it a level 2. I think it's probably closer to a 3 if you ask me, which is funny because I thought the 1000 was pretty easy, and I think they were leaning toward a 3 on that. So all things considered, that's my opinion, and just that, okay? So I'll stick to it, but if you guys disagree, let us know in the comments below. I'm sure you will. Other ways to support us: Patreon for monthly support, YouTube members for monthly support, YouTube super thanks for one-time donations, as well as PayPal. Any of those are much appreciated, but at the end of the day, the best way to support us financially, if you want to support us financially, is buy these amazing products when you like them. And if you don't get them. Get something different. And if you want to see something different, head over to brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me, and you can find competitive offerings similar to this that might better meet your fancy if you're not crazy about the geebee from E-flite. But I think most of you guys that are watching this video probably will be. And by the way, I gotta say, very beautiful, very well done. It does sound like we've got some sort of radio communications going because of all the servos and the beeping and hissing. But I gotta say, really beautiful and well done. They don't all have to be perfect flyers. They don't all have to be 3D flying to be cool. This is definitely cool. However, if you want the true geebee experience, in my opinion, I would go for the 1 meter. It's very fun. So let us know what you think and stay tuned for the unbox. Thanks for watching. YouTube. It's been a few minutes, so we figured we'd better unbox this thing right now. Welcome to Brian Phillips RC, where we unbox them, we build them, and we do radio setup, so you don't have to figure it out. This one hopefully won't take too much setup.
Hopefully.
It's a small box. Small but distinguished.
Ooh.
It's the geebee.
Oh.
Looks similar, doesn't it?
It does.
So this is a re-release of one of the all-time favorites, the UMX geebee R-2 is what they call this. And it is an ultra micro scale airplane for intermediate pilots, okay? So we're gonna find out. This one was supposed to be hard to land. We managed to do it in sub-zero temperatures, if I recall. Well, it wasn't sub-zero, but it was near sub-zero.
Yes.
I think we had snowbanks though.
We did. They didn't tell us anything about this.
So this is an ultra micro. So it is small. It does appear to come fully assembled. This unbox should be easy. Should be.
I've heard that once or twice.
Yeah.
Today.
I promised my wife it would be easy. So we're gonna find out if it actually is easy. So as usual, it's packaged really well. Very simple. Got foam protecting the foam from the foam. And I'm just gonna put things back down so I can look at this with you guys. What a sweet looking little thing.
Pretty cool.
It's got it's super small details, and yet it feels stable, like it feels stout. It doesn't feel super delicate, even though it is. That wing is hollow. See that? It goes up and scooped.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. So this thing has got huge ailerons, a big rudder, big elevator, and it looks like we have long throw linear servos with quick disconnects out here, so if you have serviceability, which is kind of nice if you have a problem. And then they have linkages that go through to the front. Now, I don't know how this opens if it does. Obviously, we gotta get the, yeah, there we go. Gotta get the battery in. Multi-purpose brick right there. Big piece of Velcro, brushless motor, and the prop. Let's see what the prop is. This is a 5.25 by 3.5 V2, whatever that means.
Okay.
Okay, and the brushless motor, you can see right there, SPMX AM4000, 12 pole, 1900 kV. It's a 1206. Okay, so then this thing, I do not know what it flies on, but it's got the JST connection, which means that you'll be able to use the JST equipped batteries, or you can use the micro pH connections for the 2S, but then you have to have an adapter in there, okay? So as usual, you can put all that stuff back in. It does come with a little bit of Velcro, which is in this bag right here. And these packages are nice because you can pack in some extra batteries and things like that. But this one's small, so I like that it's small. I actually prefer that it's small over having more room for transmitters. We did one the other day. It was the Erratics flat foam, ultra micro sort of thing. And we had 2 transmitters in there, I think. It was crazy. Okay, so we got a manual. It's taped to the bottom, so you got to pull that out to get to it. And we'll put this box in the background for now. We are going to set ours up on the NX8 Plus, which is our new transmitter. We've been using the NX8 Plus for a while. I know some of you guys are probably wanting to see the size difference between the Ultra Micro and just the regular 1000 millimeter, okay? Because the regular one is 1000 millimeters. But it is a big 1000 millimeter because the geebee has such a big body. It's like a giant engine nacelle with this tiny canopy in here, okay? And so as you can see, they definitely look the part, okay? Now, let's see how hard it is to set this radio setup up, because at this point, we've done a lot of radio setups in the last few days, and they have been very daunting. And so this is a welcome invitation to our experience, okay? We also need to figure out what type of battery it uses right away so we can get those charging, okay? So we'll open up the manual. This is gonna answer the questions that we have. Now, if you guys have additional questions or you ever need to find a manual, check the links in the video description below, and you can find either to buy this, or you can scroll down and they have support like this, okay? It'll be multi-languages, and just pick the language that you need, okay? Ultra micro geebee, okay. And it looks like included equipment, talks about the motor, talks about the servos, transmitter, flight battery, 3S300, okay. So 3S300 is going to be like what we just used on other recent vintage planes. That's a 3S4. That's a 4S300. And this one is another 4S300. So I know we've got a few of them around here. Here's a 3S300, and I've already made this little piece of tape that goes around it with some Velcro on it to hold it in, okay? This is equipped with the JST and a regular balanced Hextronics lead, okay? The difference between that and the micro pH 2S connectors, okay? There is no JST on this, but you can also get the 2S with the JST, similar to this. It's just a little bit more unusual to see those because most people don't do that style. And I'll show you one of those next. This is a 2S with a JST and a standard Hextronics balance lead, okay? So just keep in mind, the standard balance lead means you don't need the weird adapter to charge the batteries, okay? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a weird adapter, and I'm trying to find one right now, so I'll find it and come right back. This is what I'm talking about. It goes to the micro pH, it splits off and makes a standard Hextronics balance lead. So you can charge it like a dumb battery, and then it also has the IC3. So this allows you to then charge those non-smart, but still Spectrum brand or old E-flite brand batteries, okay? But in this case, what you need to charge these little 300s is just something to go from JST to an EC3 or an IC3. So you can plug it into your charger, okay? Now, of course, if you have another charger that's got a JST plug, you can do that too. No big deal, but I'm gonna just go ahead and plug this in right now on the S2200, one of my favorite chargers. It's the one I go to all the time. Okay, so you can see it's real low, and 6.6 amps is probably a little bit fast. We'll scroll that down to about 0.3 amps, 3S, and start. Okay, so full disclosure, these batteries have seen a little bit of life, but they should still be good in terms of the number of cycles. So we're gonna try to have a few of those ready. Now, there are IC2 connectors that go to JST. So if you have a JST equipped battery and you want to try to use it, or excuse me, an IC2 equipped battery, you can use that too. But I think you'd be counterintuitive on that because most of those packs are kind of like the 454Ss, for instance, have the IC2 connector, okay? So in our case, since it's a 300, we shouldn't really have that problem. But what we are gonna do is we're gonna charge a few of these right now so that they're ready to rock and roll when we get ready to fly this aircraft. Of course, it's dark right now because it's later in the day. That one looks like it was a little better. 6.6 amps, also a little bit too fast. That's one of the big drawbacks of having dumb packs is that they don't automatically populate the settings. Like for instance, this battery here, I haven't charged it forever. I turn on the transmitter, I let it power cycle. Once it's on, I bring this thing, I stick it in the hole, it goes. Look, then it charges. I don't have to do any settings, it's just done, okay? I am gonna cancel that charge because I don't wanna charge this one. And then they'll also automatically discharge. So it's really nice to have smart batteries, but it's also not necessary on these super, super small packs because the balance charging circuit makes them a little bit too heavy, okay? All right, so coming back to the point, now that we know that information, we can continue through. This is our NX setup, so we'll just kind of hover, and you guys can, if you wanna pause that if you need to read something, this is what we're gonna be working our way through right now. And it should be a relatively easy process. Of course, we're gonna turn on the transmitter. We're gonna have to make a new profile. Not sure if it's gonna pull out of the model or not. I don't think it does, but we'll find out if it does, okay? So it looks like safe technology can be turned on or turned off. We're not gonna turn it off. We're just gonna not use it, okay? We also don't need to apply Velcro to our particular battery because we've already done that. Center of gravity is 26 millimeters back from the leading edge. We do want to check on that shortly, and we'll show you how to test the AS3X in safe to validate that it's working properly before we would go out and attempt to fly, okay? Now, I don't believe there's going to be thrust reverse on this unit. There was thrust reverse on the big one, right?
Yes, we used it.
Oh yeah, because that's how we got it landed really quick. So this one's gonna have to land and drag out. There is a soft tire, by the way. Soft, semi-soft, semi-soft. Those are hard plastic, and that's by design, so it can slip and slide, and it seems to handle and tolerate the landings a little bit better. At least that's what we've been told, okay? So, our first move on this particular aircraft is to bind it up and see if it allows us to pull the receiver file. And for this, I'm gonna just use a dead battery Doesn't need to be fully charged to actually do this step, but sometimes the binding process won't work if it's dead enough. So what we'll do is we'll just create a brand new profile, cancel and back, add new model. It's an acro, so we'll create it. You could choose something different. Okay, so then we're gonna go to model name. We're gonna type in geebee and we'll come right back. All right, so we typed in the word G and then B R2 Ultra Micro Extreme or UMX. Okay. Aircraft type should be a normal wing type and a normal tail type. Now, I will let you know that it's not impossible that this would also support Flaperons. If you wanted to try to do it, we'll go ahead and try that feature as well. If it does support Flaperons, the way you have to do it is you have to set this to a one aileron, one flap. But I do not know if that's gonna work yet, so we're gonna go with normal for now, and we'll come back to that later. Let's select an image, standard file. I don't think they have a geebee in here.
I don't think so.
I don't see it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just pick whatever that is. Okay. Flight mode setup. We are going to set up one flight mode. It's an optional choice. Spoken. This is where we set up what's going to be displayed on the screen. So, oops. Highlight the last character, cancel, cancel. It clears it. And then I'm going to make this say AS3X. It'll actually be AS3X. Not AS3X Plus, but this is just a label after all. So artificial stabilization 3-axis is what that stands for. And that's just the stabilizer. Okay, so we'll scroll and get that and come right back. All right, so there's AS3X. Then we'll switch to this one. This is also probably going to be AS3X. We usually like to do an offsetting, but it ends up being AS3X because you can't turn it off in these systems on these ultra micros. So we'll show you how to do all this in just mere moments. AS3X. Okay, and then same thing. All right, so also AS3X. And then this one's going to be safe. So highlight, cancel, cancel. So safe stands for sensor assisted flight envelope. And what that does for us is it auto levels the aircraft and also gives us limitations on bank and pitch angles, which we'll show you how to test to see if it's on when you're getting ready to fly yours for the first time. By the way, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, welcome to Brian Phillips RC. We'll help get you up to speed so that you don't have to have a bunch of guesswork in your setup process, okay? Now, channel assign. We're not sure that we're going to have to worry about these channels, but I'm going to go ahead and disassociate aux7 from knob or from B, and I'm going to disassociate. I actually don't necessarily have a problem with that being D, but I'll disassociate it anyway. Gear is going to ultimately end up being controlled as a tie to gear, I believe, is where safe is. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. But we'll just leave those unassociated, okay? All right, so then the first thing we'll do is just set up rates in Expo. This is going to be kind of like a baseline, just a little something to keep the sticks soft if it's a little bit too touchy. Okay. We'll drop this down to 90, and that's our neutral. We're going to be doubling effect, neutral, and then a halving effect. Now, the manual might call it out slightly different. Let's see what the manual suggests. They suggest 170. So 100 with 10% and 70 with 5. I prefer not to give up the throws, but you might prefer to follow exactly what the manual says. I'm also going to do this all on the same switch because my thinking is that if I'm going to have a switch that does something, I want it to do it for all three control axes. Because really at the end of the day, if you get done flying and it was too touchy and you can get to the ground, then no big deal. Just go into the menu and change the axis that was too touchy. But my goal is to give myself an out if it's too touchy or an out if it's not touchy enough, okay? Then when you land, you go to the surface that was giving you trouble and you turn that up or down corresponding to the problem you were experiencing. Keep in mind it's highly subjective, so this is just what I tell people as a starting point, and you can take it or leave it. Some people don't even like expo at all, okay? But the idea is it's the same. We have a doubling effect and a halving effect. That's on the rudder axis. And then we've done the same on the elevator and the same on the aileron. So it's pitch, roll, and yaw. That's the three primary flight control surfaces. Throttle cut, we definitely want that on. Cycle the switch. Look down here, you can see it says -100. As I move the stick, it doesn't change. That means it's working. I unlock it and it works. You can see it sliding as I move this. Very good, throttle cut's on. Okay, so now timer. I'm guessing this is irrelevant, but I'm just gonna go with it. It's gonna be a shorter flight time. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm gonna go 3 minutes and 30 with the 1 out active, meaning over 25%. It's gonna start the timer and continue to count down until we clear it with the clear key. At 1 minute, I want it to say voice. At 10 seconds, I want a voice countdown. At expiration, I want to tone and vibrate within tone every minute thereafter. Now, keep in mind, I can also look down at the screen and see what the time is, okay? So, for instance, I start the timer, it goes. I hit cancel, it clears it. Throttle cut's on, middle expo. Don't know what gear switch we need to be in for sure. It's either going to be tortoise or away from us, but for now, it doesn't really matter. I'll just defer to down, which would be like gear down. Obviously, these are not retracts, but the gear setting is going to be how we control safe. Now, ready to bind? Yes, we are. Okay. See where my hand is? You see where that blade is? If that were to turn on, it would not cut my hand up. It would probably just overload and be very annoying because it's not going to be strong enough to overwhelm my hand. Now, if this was a 16-inch 16-inch blade at 7-inch pitch, it might cut my hand up, okay? So I'm not super worried about it, but you still need to use a little bit of caution. I've been cut on a plane one time and it was an ultra micro. So plug this in. Be prepared for it to do something you don't expect by having your hands out of the way. Now, if it catches the edge, we're in binding mode right now. You can tell because it's flashing, okay? So because it's flashing, I'm gonna pick up the tail and move it over here. Camera crew is gonna do her best to see if she can see it. I'm gonna click and scroll down to bind, and I'm gonna go to bind. And then I'm gonna type. Okay, so it's alive. Now it's auto-configuring the telemetry. Keeping in mind our throttle cut is on. Hasn't been tested, so we don't trust this plane yet. We're gonna keep not trusting it until we do trust it. Okay, good, it's saying the battery's not charged. Okay, so that's good. It's not charged for flying, so the first thing I'm gonna do is go to telemetry, smart battery. Nope, I don't want that warning. Don't want that warning, and I don't care about that warning. But for Smart ESC, how many poles was it?
12.
12 poles. Now all that stuff will work. Warning reports will be every 15 seconds if we drop more than 3.4 per cell. Now, since this is a 3 cell, it's going to take 3 times that, and it's going to warn us if it drops below. Okay. So we walk out and watch this. Pretty sweet. Look at that. You can tell it's low, but it's not dead. Throttle cuts on. Moving the stick, it's still not moving the throttle. Throttle cuts off. Moving the stick up. Okay, good throttle. Throttle cuts on. Everything AS3X is working already. We'll talk about that in a moment, but let's put the cover on. Drop it down in. Okay, so it's very loud. It's got the AS3X jitters. When I move up, those go up to resist. When I move down, it goes down to resist, up to resist, down to resist. Rudder, same thing. It's going that way, it's going this way.
It's very hard to see, it's so small.
Okay, so I'm gonna lift the plane. It's going up. I'm gonna lower, it's going down. If you can't see, you can put your hand on it. I have to stand for this one. Look at that rudder. It's resisting. It's resisting. It's resisting. It's just very subtle, okay? Because it's a small surface, there's not going to be as much movement, okay? Now you can see it if you look close. Now, ailerons are a little easier. Roll up, roll down, roll up, roll down. But this is just stabilization, not auto leveling, okay? That would be safe. As you can see, it's upside down and it's not trying to self-right. So, first things first, let's flip the gear switch. It should go to safe. Nope. Okay. So, that's because I think I disassociated switch A from that, okay? So I'm gonna click, I'm gonna scroll all the way down to system setup, disconnect RF, or at least acknowledge it. Go to channel assign. I'm gonna set gear to D or flight mode. Either one. So now watch this. One of these modes, it's gonna work. One of the modes, it's not. Okay, so we are in safe now. It's trying to auto level. Now it's off. Now it's off, okay? So in order for that to work, throttle cuts on, servo setup, travel, reverse, gear, okay? So we reversed gear. So now I'm in safe, and guess what? Or excuse me, I'm in AS3X, AS3X, and safe, okay? The other thing you can do is pitch the plane. It's trying to pull out of a dive. It's trying to pull out of a climb. And it's finding the quickest route to level. Very good. So the other thing you can do to see if you're in safe, throttle cuts on, sticks down and over. Safe is gonna limit the bank angles, so you're gonna have less throw. Very good. Okay, so AS3X, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right. You can see the differential, which means we should be able to support Flaperons if you want them, okay? So I'm trying to remember how we do that. Don't we?
You have to flip a switch, but I have to
We have to
look and
flip
see.
this back and forth like 5 times, but it's while doing something with the sticks.
Yes.
And I can never remember what it is. It's like this, 1, 2, 3. That's evidently not it. Okay, so we'll pause, figure it out, and come back. Okay, I remembered. It was like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how it does that up and down? Now, I may have just turned it off. If that's the case, I'll stand corrected. I did it off camera when my camera crew was trying to find the answer. So click, scroll down to system setup, disconnect RF, aircraft type, normal. Now, you don't have to do that feature at all. One aileron, one flap. That gives us our flap menu. So look, elevator up, down, roll left, roll right. I'm in safe, okay? Now AS3X, they're safe, okay? Roll left, roll right, you can still see the differential. Elevator up, elevator down, y'all left, y'all right. So let's go into flap system. I'm gonna set it to switch B. Okay, so it's gonna do something if it works. Uh-oh. Doesn't look like it's moving. Oh, it's because I turned it off.
Maybe you did turn
Okay,
it
so
off.
watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once it does that, you know it's working, okay? Hey, yeah, it's working now. Yep, they're both going down. Okay, so this one we want to leave neutral. That's our normal flight mode. This one's going to be either down together. Holy cow, they barely move.
Oh, wow.
You could do spoilerons, maybe. Let's do spoilerons. Because I don't think we're going to move them enough to matter for flaperons. And then for full landing flaps, so let's do like 85. Okay? So take off flaps, landing flaps. Okay? We can do a mix. Excuse me. Let's set this to 2 seconds. And let's set this to -4. And let's set this to -6. So that means that elevator is, I'm going to exaggerate the movement to like -20 20, so you can see it move. That's going up. Normally, when you have an inboard flap and you deploy that down, you would also bring the elevator down, because when you deploy flaps, they go down, it's gonna tend to make the plane want to balloon. And so you correct it with a little bit of downward elevator, and then you realize the benefits of additional drag, reduced stall speed, and a general slowing effect, okay? You can also change the attitude of the aircraft without gaining airspeed, because when you land a plane, ultimately you have to get from where you are in altitude to the ground. So that's bad when you're trying to come to the ground. It's gonna tend to speed you up. So that's what flaps help with. Now, in this case, we're doing spoilerons because I just don't think they're gonna go down far enough, okay? Right. But as you can see, since they're up, they still act as ailerons. That's called a spoileron, okay? So now takeoff flaps, looks pretty good. In fact, we'll see if it's even helpful, but I am gonna change that 21, which was used for exaggeration so you could see it. I'm gonna make that -4 and then -6, okay? So we've got all the settings ready to rock and roll. This geebee is ready to take to the skies. Pretty easy setup. It did not call us to pull from the receiver. Full disclosure, okay? Now also, I just want to point out the fact that there is differential on this plane. You can see, but that is programmed in on the flight controller / multi-purpose brick, okay? So you're not going to be able to change or defeat that value, okay? And that's just the way it's gonna be. I don't think there's a whole lot you can say about it. I am kind of weirded out that, oh, I know why. Because the differential is a mechanical differential. Because they just literally have more throw out than they do in. Oh. So the neutral position, it's kind of like if you take 2 servos and you have a sweep that goes like this, that's the full range of motion. If you want to make a mechanical differential, instead of setting up your ailerons here, you would set your ailerons up here. And then the deflection is higher on a call out to roll that direction, and it's less to roll the other direction.
And hence, that's why you can't do flaps, basically.
That's why the flaperons are ineffective. It's not that you can't, it's just that there's not physically very far to go. Hence, we're gonna do spoilerons, which will potentially give us good outcome. And it might do nothing. You don't have to use that feature. It's just kind of a fun thing that people like to do. So remember, sticks down and out like this, and then flip. In your case, if you're doing it from gear, it'd be the A switch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that. So it should be 5 full strokes, and then you'll see the elevator go to acknowledge, okay? Can't wait to fly it. Hopefully we can answer all your questions in these videos here on Brian Phillips RC. We're here to support our audience.
CG.
Oh, we need to check the CG.
Yeah, before you take the battery out.
Well, I want to take the battery out so I can charge it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to take and put a different one in if it's charged.
Okay.
Shoot, they're still charging. Goodness gracious. I was thinking that I could do that, but I guess not.
26 millimeters?
Yeah, 26 millimeters. I'll take your word for it, camera crew. I have no idea.
The battery tray is oversized to allow for a range of battery placement. Start by installing at the front edge of the battery tray with the connector plug facing the rear of the aircraft, and then adjust CG as needed.
Okay.
That's their recommendation to start with.
What we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and test it real quick and see where it sits, okay? Now, historically, ultra micros just kind of go, okay? Not all of them are created equal. This is gonna be one that's pretty sensitive, I'm guessing. So you close
26.
This. 26?
Yeah, there was no plus or minus.
Okay, so 26 it is. Okay, so scrolling 26. I'll probably be a little bit more picky on this than normal. Good enough. It's gonna suck to test that.
Yes, it is.
Let's just call it the edge of the red. Yeah. It's like the edge of the red and the white for me. Now, the jigging may not be perfect on these models, full disclosure. I'm gonna hang it upside down. And normally I would want to have a detent or a bump that I can feel with my finger. I can tell you right now, that's as close as you're gonna get it, okay? So, the battery that's in here, this is the other thing we like to do. This is a 300 3S. 300 milliamp hour 3S. Okay? So now, back in the day, the original geebee would have almost certainly flown on 2S. So it should be a more desirable flying experience, a little bit more power, a little bit more punchy behavior. But it is winter and it's been very wintry around our parts. I don't know if it has been for you. But so when we're ready to fly this, and I'm hoping it's tomorrow, it's gonna hopefully be amazing, okay? But we don't know if it's gonna handle the wind. And that's one thing you need to keep in mind with ultra micro planes is that they don't always tolerate the wind really great, okay? So that'd be one drawback of these ultra micros that you won't have near as big a problem with on these, but even this is not gonna handle 30, 40 mile an hour wind, okay? This plane is super fun to fly. It does the trick. It gives you that crazy scale racing experience. If you haven't enjoyed one, you might want to check it out. We will have links in the video description below. It will take you to this plane or this alike. We'll link to the various different batteries that we know of. The one that's recommended, of course, if we have others that need adapters, we'll have links to those as well. And of course, we'll link to the transmitter of our choice, which in this case, we've been using the NX8. It's been wonderful. We haven't had any issues with it yet. And it's been awesome because now that we don't have 300 models, it's quite a bit faster turning on and turning off, of course. So that's always handy. That being said, our NX10 was great and we still use it whenever we use a model that's figured out on that system. Okay, and we have another NX8 before that, and we have another NX8, and then we had another NX6, and we had an NX7E, and I've got a DX18, and some DX5Is, and DX4Is, and DXSs, and DXEs. And then what's that other one? That
And we have the
multi-protocol?
SLT.
The SLT, we have a bunch of Batman controllers. So we have tons of controllers, and then tons of the other off-brand ones.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my favorite go-to, if I have a choice, is my current NX. I don't really miss the Hall effects gimbals. I think these are fine, okay? In the NX8 Plus, really all you have to do is update the software on your NX8 and you have an NX8 Plus. So guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, I want to give you the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And that includes sometimes talking you out of buying something that's really expensive so you can buy the other thing that you really want to buy. And that's one thing about kicking the tires on transmitters is that we've had really good luck with the NX series. But the only issue we have is every once in a while, after thousands and thousands of cycles, and we use them a lot, these scrolly wheels will get dirty. We have to clean them. And after you start going through that process, it tends to come back more frequently, okay? A couple things that can help with that: don't have oily fingers and don't fly in the rain. Those two things seem to degrade the performance of that scrolly wheel quicker, okay? But as far as this ultra micro geebee goes, I can't wait to fly it, and I think you're gonna really enjoy it. But you could check out the flight at the very beginning of this video. You already saw what we had to say about the flying performance. If you have questions, leave them down below. We'll do our best to help you out. But as always, if you want to check out more footage about other planes, specifically planes that are similar, or maybe even planes that are competitive, so you can compare apples and oranges and make a best decision for you, head over to brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me if you don't want to try to spell my full name. It'll be easy. You can sort by type or by brand or affiliate that we worked with on a particular product, okay? So what that does for you is it allows you to see all the general aviation planes together, all the warbirds together, all the helicopters together, all the ultra micros together, and that will make it a lot easier for you to find exactly what you're trying to consider. That's gonna lead you back to a playlist on YouTube or the place where you could buy one if you know you already want it, okay? Keeping in mind, if you buy from the links in the video description below, or you come from Brian Phillips RC and you end up following those links to buy, we earn small commissions from the different manufacturers and brand partners that we have worked with over the years. Now, make no mistake, that doesn't mean that we cover for their screw-ups. We show them all in their very true colors, okay? But that also doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, and we show those in our very true colors as well. So you can weigh and balance that in your own consideration. But at the end of the day, we do our very best to give you the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, while getting you out of the chair and into the air. And the best way we know how is by showing you how good they are and whether or not they meet the specifications that they claim, and whether or not I enjoy the process. And can I land it on my runway? And does it look good in this area? And does it do good against the wind? And does it have enough lighting, or does it have lighting? There is no lighting on this, by the way. So just lots of the ordinary things. You know, does it have soft wheels? You know, does it present itself the way we expect? Does it get up there and fly hokey? Is there problems with the servos? These are the types of things that we're going to bring to the table in a Brian Phillips RC review, okay? So hopefully you can find some value in that. And if you did find any value in this video, or you just enjoyed it, smash the like button and click the bell for notifications when you do subscribe, because subscribing on Brian Phillips RC is a no-brainer, because there's always brand new content right around the corner. In fact, we have to film not one, but 2 more films this week alone. So that'll make it like 9 videos in the last 7 days. It's getting a little bit difficult to keep up, but don't worry, we haven't been sick and there hasn't been blizzards and Arctic blasts.
Not at all. Nope.
Such is our life, but we love this hobby. We want to support the hobby and the people in it. And that's why we tell the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And that's also why we are building an aerodrome here. So if you guys don't know what an aerodrome is, you already saw it. Runway 1, runway 2, full scale runway, and the hangar. If you guys didn't see it in a recent video we did, actually for that Flywing helicopter over there, we were inside the damn gift shop, which is right past the damn runway, which is from a pond that we use to build the dam so we can make a damn runway. And so all of it is in support of this amazing experience right here on Brian Phillips RC. So if you go back in time and you watch the whole evolution, something like that, you can see where we started and where we're going and how we're getting there. It's been a lot of hard work, and we could have done it without you guys by our side. So thanks for being there. If you want to support us, Patreon for monthly support, YouTube members for monthly support, join the channel if you want. Thanks for doing that if you do. YouTube super thanks, one-time donations, or PayPal if you like that sort of thing and you don't want to be part of the clubs. All of it's really appreciated, but we think firmly, and at the end of the day, the best way to support us is to buy things from the links when you do like these products, and smash the like button, watch the videos, click the bell when you do subscribe. That costs you nothing. But it also costs you nothing to follow the links when you do buy. You can still get your RC bucks, and bonus programs and discount coupon codes still work. The only difference is they know that we were involved with getting you into the finish line, whatever that means, okay? And then we earn a pittance of percentage basis points. And then that helps to fund our channel, okay? So we've always been super transparent about that, and we want you guys to understand that we really do care about the hobby. We're not doing it for the money. Believe me, the money is gone, and it's going to be gone for a long time, okay? We could do this for another 30 years and we'll never catch up. I could show you the receipts, but I won't. The truth is, I really love aviation. I always have loved aviation, and we're just getting more and more real and deeper as we go. So we want to spread the joy and help with expertise, but also help people get back into the expertise that they used to have and enjoy. Because it is hard. There's a steep learning curve in this hobby, and it is not the easiest hobby to start, and it's certainly not the cheapest hobby, and we're going to help get you there. So you're in the right place. Brian Phillips RC is here for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Come back for more.